What's good? Let's get it. I want to talk about using adversity, specifically the cold, to strengthen your mind and body and spirit and everything, I guess, whatever that entails. I think I've talked about this before, but you can use stimulus that we deem as like adverse or negative or whatever to strengthen yourself. And the example I want to use is the cold, because it's in most places people live, it's readily available. I mean, yesterday was the first day we got into 30s overnight, and wearing flip-flops to the gym. I'm a little softy, the upper body, so I'm still wearing something up top, and you can see the fit, sweatpants and flip-flops. I'm working my way up, right? But the idea is that your body and your mind can sustain much more than we think we can, right? I mean, I've heard stories of people hiking up in Nepal and India and, you know, tens of thousands of foot mountains or whatever, thousands of foot mountains, and they'll see just a yogi just barefoot as a motherfucker. Maybe he's got a shirt on, got a little jock strap on or something, while everybody there is fighting for their lives to not freeze to death and to climb the mountain. This crazy ass dude is walking barefoot in the snow in the mountains. How is that possible? Well, you might say it's impossible. I say, well, look it up. But through diet, mental and physical exercise, and breathing's the most important part about it. You're able to do more than you'd ever think you'd be possible, or you'd be able to do, I suppose. Wim Hof is a good example of it, right? Apparently he cured his frostbite from breathing techniques. His breathing techniques have changed people's lives. Cold exposures change people's lives, especially when it comes to addictions and stress and anxiety. And I'll use an example, because a couple weeks ago, me and my buddies went camping, hiking, etc., and we found a nice little waterfall. It was beautiful, and it came to a pond that you were able to submerge yourself into. And I mean, we do that sort of stuff, I guess, but so we did it, and we did a few sessions, but after we came out of the last session, I could feel the mindset changed in myself, where I had no desire for any sort of drug use, right? Even coffee, because I considered certain things drugs, and I mean, if it affects your mental state, I believe it's a drug in some capacity. And that was, I do cold showers and whatnot, but I had never done like a cold plunge for 15-20 minutes repeatedly. And coming out, I could feel it in my lungs, I could feel it in my body. I was like, I don't want to be doing X, Y, or Z anymore, or I have no desire to do it. So I'm sure somebody could get into the science behind it, neurological, whatnot. I'm just not up to date with all that stuff. But I believe it releases like adrenaline. So that kind of like the flight or flight response, I suppose. And once I got out, barely was able to move, but I could feel the fight. I was like, there's things I want to do. There's, people I want to see, places to be, that sort of thing. And I'm not going to let anything hold me back from that. So, where do you go from here, right? Ease your way into it. I think a problem a lot of people have is they go balls to the wall too quickly. But start off at the end of your shower, little by little, just turning the water down. And just remember, it's all mental. You will not freeze. You will not get hypothermia from turning the water to cold or just being in cold water. Obviously, if you have health conditions or whatnot, be careful of that. I think I need to say shit like this now because it's public platform, I suppose. But you will not die, probably. So obviously be careful, but also realize your body and your mind is capable of so much more than we think. Last example, David Cho, I believe his name is. He's been on Joe Rogan. He told a story about his time with, like, I think some sort of tribe in Africa, and how as if they were just different people, right? For example, they were able to run for miles all day long with minimal water, minimal food, just nonstop, right? Just run. I'm sure, in America, you can't get people to run more than 5 minutes without almost dying. Same with their skin. Apparently they had tough skin. So this leads to the point is that your environment kind of dictates your body and your mindset and how tough or soft you are. I've talked about this before, comfort kills. If you want to toughen up, if you want to... The way I see it is you need to suffer in order to thrive. So you suffer until a point that you're comfortable enough to return to the real world or do whatever. People give this advice about disappear for a year, go nomad, go savage mode, go whatever you want to say. Disappear and reemerge, and people will not recognize you. People will speak to you and not believe you're the same person. It's true. Everything is in your capacity. And then this is gonna be a little risky, but Kanye West, yay, he's gotten into some shit for saying slavery is a choice, and people gave him a lot of shit for that, right? And you know why? Because people think they're victims and they think they're products of their environment. And while that is true in some regard, ultimately you make the decision every single day of what you do. When he says slavery is a choice, he's not saying like, oh, you could just go become a doctor. Essentially what he's saying is you can die. That's a choice too. You could just say no and die, but you don't want to do that. So it kind of leads to the point where people would rather be a slave and whatever, live that life than die. And if you'd rather be a slave than die, then you're probably going to continue being a slave for the rest of your life. It's all about mindset. 99% of what life is. Probably even more. Obviously, you can be gifted by physical attributes and genetics and shit like that, but your mind is the most powerful thing. We know it's more powerful than any computer we have. We'll leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take this to heart. Peace.